The subpersonal cognitive level, often conceived in terms of connexionist and computational models within the brain, lies primarily in the domain of scientific inquiry, particularly disciplines that can rigorously investigate non-symbolic mechanistic processes. This level, which we might term subcognitive or protocognitive, requires an approach grounded in the physical and computational sciences, as it involves a type of processing that operates without the symbolic meaning structures addressed by psychoanalysis and psychology. Sciences like computational neuroscience, neurovision, systems neuroscience, and related fields are uniquely positioned to elucidate this subpersonal level due to their ability to model, measure, and test neural dynamics in ways that reveal fundamental non-conscious mechanisms. While psychoanalysis and psychology excel in elucidating symbolic, emotional, and functional layers of the psyche, they are inherently limited when it comes to explaining the subpersonal level mentioned here. These fields focus on subjective experience, interpretation, and meaning, areas that necessitate a symbolic framework and an interpretative lens. Psychoanalysis, for instance, is deeply invested in uncovering the symbolic workings of the unconscious, fantasies, desires, and repressed experiences, whereas psychology examines cognitive and emotional processes that pertain to conscious and unconscious behavior, but are always infused with meaning. However, the subpersonal level does not operate within a symbolic order or a language of desire, repression, or consciousness. It is fundamentally about mechanical, pre-interpretative processing. Understanding these basic processes requires a scientific approach that can directly measure neural patterns, sensory integration, and computational outputs. Psychoanalysis, although invaluable for exploring depth psychology, cannot penetrate the non-symbolic, algorithmic nature of subpersonal processes. Similarly, psychology, which relies on observable behavior and cognitive function, cannot adequately address the granular, mechanistic operations happening beyond the level of conscious awareness or symbolic meaning. Cybercapitalism, particularly in its current digital form, exploits both the subpersonal and symbolic levels of human cognition to unprecedented extents, leveraging technology and data science to access, manipulate, and even automate responses within these domains. The combination of granular data on individual digital activity and insights from psychological sciences enables corporations to influence and predict consumer behavior with astonishing precision. At the subpersonal level, cybercapitalism targets cognitive processes that are largely automatic, pre-reflective, and below the threshold of conscious awareness. This level includes non-conscious, cognitive functions such as attention mechanisms, sensory processing, and impulse control, all of which can be influenced without the individual's active awareness. Platforms employ sophisticated algorithms, optimized by artificial intelligence and machine learning, to capture and retain user attention. These algorithms are designed to trigger dopamine release through rewarding feedback loops, likes, comments, notifications, making users engage longer and return frequently. By tapping into neural pathways associated with reward and pleasure, platforms manipulate the brain's subpersonal reward mechanisms, thereby fostering habits that are resistant to conscious control. Research has highlighted that dopamine-driven feedback loops are particularly potent because they tie into the brain's reward prediction mechanisms. These systems, studied extensively in temporal difference, learning, and incentive salience theories, suggest that dopamine release is linked not only to rewards but also to cues that predict them, such as the ping of a notification. This anticipatory aspect keeps users in a cycle of seeking and checking, thus forming a dopamine loop that is difficult to break due to its alignment with deeply ingrained neural pathways for motivation and reward. The endless scroll of social media feeds is a classic example of exploiting subpersonal processing. Content is served to users based on algorithms that predict what they will find engaging. But on a subpersonal level, users are not evaluating each piece of content with full awareness. Instead, the presentation of highly personalized, emotionally charged information primes users to remain in passive consumption, bypassing reflective thinking in favor of continuous stimulation. Beyond the subpersonal, cybercapitalism also exploits the symbolic level, targeting individuals' identities, values, and desires. Here, technology companies leverage data from digital behavior to understand and manipulate how individuals see themselves and the world around them. By accumulating data from various sources, social media posts, online shopping behaviors, search history, and more, these companies build detailed profiles that tap into users' symbolic and value-laden self-conceptions. The power of cybercapitalism lies in its access to vast quantities of granular data on individual behavior, which is analyzed and refined by insights from psychological sciences. Companies know not only what people do online, but also the psychological reasoning behind it, thanks to advances in behavioral economics, social psychology, and cognitive neuroscience. The dual exploitation of the subpersonal and symbolic levels raises significant questions about human agency and autonomy in digital spaces. By targeting the subpersonal level, cybercapitalism undermines individuals' capacity for reflective thinking and manipulates them at the most basic levels of cognition. Meanwhile, on the symbolic level, it shapes users' identities and worldviews, subtly guiding their beliefs and values in ways they may not even be aware of. Subpersonal Connexionism and Cybercapitalist Manipulation, script by Liviu, Poenaru, Doctor in Psychology, Geneva.